Okay.
Hello. Welcome to September. We have summer in the past and we're going forward into fall or autumn, as they say.
Always remember that kind of September.
Yes,
I
I
don't
do.
know if those were the exact words, but try to remember
Yeah,
that something or other September.
there's several songs like that about September. I'm thinking, I
Well,
don't
you
know
know
what.
why?
Well, I think,
What did everybody do in September?
yeah, that's true. They went away
You
to
you were
college
you
or
left
school.
school.
Yeah,
That's why, like Grease, one of the songs on Grease, they talk about in September.
yeah. Well, I was going to say, I don't think it's just James Dean dying in September, but um,
No,
it's certainly a very important time for a lot of people. Uh,
did they ever find his car,
uh, I
the
suspect it's,
Spider?
yeah, the spider. I know. No, I suspect it's being hidden by the Bears family. I'm fairly certain that
You
they know
heard the
where it is.
story, right? That
Oh, yeah.
it was on a train, and when the train car got to its destination, the car
Yeah,
was gone.
it was gone. What do you think the chances are? I don't know that.
Well, I figured that, but a
I,
lot of it turns out to be hooey, and you
oh,
know it's hooey.
it is hooey. Most of
Well,
what George Barris has said about the spider is hooey. And I've spoken with George personally, and he was a nice man, but we.
I met him once. I don't know if you did or not. George,
Well, he worked near. His shop was near Fairmont, our school. So
now, I don't know if you recall this, but George Barris brought two dune buggies over to the school, and that big grassy field that they used to play football in across the
right,
street
yeah,
from that now has buildings in it, but at
I
that
know.
time
Uh,
it was the football field, and he put those two dune buggies out there with a couple of girls in bikinis, and of course all the boys from the from the older grades were out there enjoying that. And he gave all the kids a picture of Adam West and Burt Ward in costume, and it had a printed autograph on it, but it was all right. And he handed those out to the kids, and he was there personally.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't remember it, but I wouldn't have at the time known who the hell he was. So, um,
Well, just to tell you guys what Melanie and I are discussing, she and I used to go to a private school in Anaheim called Fairmont Private School. And as she said, it was very close to George Barris's garage where he did all his work. And at the time, they were selling this Barry Mini T, which was a dune buggy that had a slight resemblance to the old Model Ts. So that's what we're discussing here. So
yeah, Fairmont was a lovely school. If you were of the right ethnicity, unfortunately,
there
I
were
won't
some
go
black.
into.
There were a few black kids at the school. There
There
weren't
was
a whole
one.
lot.
There was one that I knew, Michelle, but she had they had told the school that she was adopted.
Well, Greg Birch
Uh,
was half black.
yeah, they say this said the same thing with Greg. I think that was a common thing, and of course it's ridiculous. They should have just been admitted, but if you got the grades, you should be there. And
Uh, you didn't have to have grades to be at Fairmont. You had to have
money.
money to be at
If you
Fairmont.
were a poor kid, you had to have the grades.
Now, let me tell you, Melanie and I were not rich,
No.
but our mother, kind as she was the school bus driver in order for us to be able to go to school there.
Yep. We went that way.
But it was fun. We had a movie star who was on our bus,
Yep. We
Rosalind Chow,
uh, who
and we
became
used we she had a crush on me. We called her Rosie, and she was a couple of grades below. She was like in third grade or something, and I was in seventh grade. It's funny. I heard her talking on a show where she claimed to be about 10 years younger than I am,
Yes, I know. I saw that. That was on the Carson show or
and I happen
whatever.
to know she's not 10 years younger than I
Yeah.
am. She's
She
about
was
3 years
saying
younger than I am.
she was I mean, when I was in my 40s, she was saying she was in her 30s. I'm younger than she is.
Yeah,
Anyway,
Melody's a year younger than Rosalind Chow.
yeah. Uh,
And to those of you who may not know who Rosalind Chow is, she played Klinger's wife on MASH. She was in the
uh,
Joy Luck Club. She was in Deep Space Nine. She played Miles O'Brien's wife on Deep Space Nine, and I'm sure she's been in many other things.
oh yeah. Yeah, she's worked consistently. Bless her heart. I hope her sisters have as well. She had two sisters, and they were all actresses at the time. The other two probably just, became um, flight line mechanics or dentists or something. I don't know.
Who
But
knows?
uh, they um, they certainly were. They had a good beginning as kids. Anyway, um, getting on to the topic at hand. Um, the There are going to be a few guests in the future, actual ones. Um, I have spoken with a Facebook friend of mine named Eileen, who has had contacts with her brother who passed away several years ago. And as our regular viewers, all two of you, know, are I've heard from my sisters, and Mark has heard from his wife. So,
There's only one viewer.
well, there was two. Anyway,
You
the
don't you don't see that eyeball thing, right, on your screen?
no, I can't see it.
Yeah, right
And,
next to where it says live, I have an eyeball with a number in it that
uh,
would assume is the number of people that are watching us. So
on Facebook.
it's
Yeah.
probably our two faithful viewers going back and forth. Kim Hall and what is the other young lady?
Uh, the Austin Powers fan.
Yeah,
Um,
we need to do something about now. When what's his name? Michael Myers, the guy,
uh,
or the one that played.
yeah, I think his name is Michael Myers.
Yeah,
And,
well, everybody always makes fun of that because
yeah.
Now I
Well,
wonder when they created the Halloween character if they knew what they were doing to him.
probably. You know what they say.
Probably somebody that didn't like him.
Yeah. Well, he has a few of those. So it's unfortunate, but he's not the most well liked person in the industry. He's no Kathleen Hagel, but
Well,
he's.
he can't be as unpopular as Andy Dick.
Oh, no, of
If
course not.
there's ever anyone who had an appropriate last name, it's that guy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Did
I have seen more TMZ things where he blows up on people and he's just horribly rude.
you know how many children he has?
I don't even know how
7.
could how he could even have one. I don't understand why any woman would let him get anywhere close to him. Is
Yeah,
beyond me.
I mean, really.
Well, he was on Star Trek
Yeah.
on an episode of Voyager
Uh,
where he played the holographic doctor on another ship
oh yeah.
that Voyager was like rescuing. And I heard some stuff from what's the actor's name that plays a holographic doctor on Voyager?
Oh, I can see his face.
Bald headed.
Yeah. Um,
I just names don't stick with me anymore. But
I
anyway,
know, me neither.
that guy,
Is it Robert?
Robert's the one that played Chakotay.
Oh, I know Robert Beltran, not him. Yeah. Uh, anyway,
But
what did you
it,
hear about Andy
just
Dick?
that he wasn't very happy with Andy Dick during the filming of that episode.
Yeah, one can imagine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess he wasn't very pleasant to work with.
yeah. I mean, there are some that just they make um, life difficult for.
Okay, I drug you off the subject. You were about to tell us about all the guests.
Oh, okay.
And I reeled you to another area of talk. So go
Oh,
ahead.
okay. All right. Anyway, I will go off on a tangent at any opportunity. Anyway, our Eileen will be with us on the 18th, and she'll be discussing her interactions with her brother since he passed, and we'll get to hear all about that. She just had another one recently, and then we have coming up um, Ellen Dunn, who is was the wife of Dark Shadows actor Christopher Penna, who also was on General Hospital and about 8 million other soap operas. And he passed last year, so we'll be discussing similar things with Ellen. And we're still scheduling her in, so it'll either be next week or the week after. And we have a couple of others that are still kind of shaky, but they'll be with us soon. One of whom is Nancy Kersey, who has just been hired for a new show, a stage show, and she's going to play someone who speaks to the dead. So I thought, given all of our associations and everything and all of our personal histories, that would be a good guest. And she's always fun anyway, and she's an old friend of mine. So Nancy will be great.
I
And
found I found a contact email, supposedly a contact email for Bob Lazar, and
oh,
I sent Bob Lazar an invitation to join us.
oh, very cool.
Now I know he's not going to do it,
No,
but hey, we're trying, and
you never know.
I'm trying to get a hold of Steve Ross, but I have not been able to get him to contact me. So I don't know what's going on there. If he's just too busy with his movie
Probably.
to do that, or what's going on, or maybe he doesn't want to do the show and he doesn't want to tell me. I don't know what the situation is, but I'm going to keep trying to get a hold of Steve Ross. And if any of you two or three people that are listening know Bob Lazar, get a hold of him, tell him to come on with us. We won't give him any trouble. We won't call him a crazy person or anything.
We like him.
Yes, we like him and we believe him.
Yep.
We're going to believe you.
Yes. And I've been contacting all kinds of other paranormal hosts, people like Dave Schrader and Kurt Sandbeck, but We'll see. Who knows? We get
If
a lot of,
if you know anything even remotely interesting, come on the show.
yeah, just message us. My
Hey, we'll
new,
have you on.
yeah, I mean, the, why
Did you
do
get
I
elected?
get things like that? Why do I get things
Uh-oh.
like just a moment?
Uh-oh. You have disappeared.
I know, I'm coming back.
I heard a
Uh,
buzz. I didn't know what happened.
yeah,
Uh,
there I am.
Now, did you ever use that little arm thing that I bought you?
It broke.
Already?
Yeah,
Wow.
I didn't want to tell you.
That's crummy.
Eh, it's life.
I'll see if I can find you a better
Oh, don't worry
made
about it.
one.
But anyway, that was caused by me trying to get rid of a window that opened so I could see things.
Well, heaven forbid you should see things.
That wasn't the Mintergeist this time.
Oh,
But I
uh,
must explain.
yeah, explain that because people are
Yes,
not going to know what you're talking about.
my we had an incident where Mark made an a an affectionately intentioned joke about our late little sister, and Melinda was very defensive in life, and I guess on the other side too, because my phone that had never fallen over during a broadcast fell over 5 times in a row. And I finally, we had to
Now,
go,
why
we're
didn't she come
sorry.
and pick on me?
Because she died here, so I guess her energy is
Huh.
connected tighter here. I don't know. But that's a good idea. Go visit Mark.
Hey, Beverly's here. You can come
Yeah,
spend time with Beverly.
you guys can talk.
Well, I haven't seen Beverly, but I have smelled her perfume, which I do not have any. She was out of it when she passed away, and I threw the bottle away. It was too, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
upsetting. But I've smelled her perfume. Well, cologne, actually, Chloe. I have heard her voice a couple of times. One time after I have her picture with the little cross that was on the casket, and every once in a while when I get up, I'll say, "Good morning, dear," or something like that. And one time I got a reply.
there you go.
And it didn't come from the picture, it came from like behind me. And I turned around, and I'm like, I thought maybe it was the neighbors, but I went outside. None of the neighbors were outside because their house is right outside my window. So if they were in the front yard talking, I could hear them. But no, nobody was out there. And uh, my wife, uh, our bedroom, we have a bathroom in, it's a master bedroom, like a lot of houses. There's a bathroom there, and my wife and I have had, well, I still have it, a big California queen size bed, great big one. And she always slept on the far side away from the bathroom. Well, when she would walk by and she'd get up at the night and use the bathroom, she'd always squeeze my foot as she went by. And I felt that twice. And that's now I'm diabetic, so I get twitches and stuff in my feet sometimes. But this was, I mean, it was like, really? I mean, I've gotten to the point where it doesn't scare me anymore because I realize that she wouldn't do anything to harm me.
Of
It's
course.
just her way of saying hello. So,
Yeah, I get what I get is these days is Larry or Laura will come in. Laura's our niece that stays with us, and I go out, and they'll come in, or I'll go out, and they'll go, "What do you want?" I didn't say anything. We heard you. You said Larry or Laura. I didn't say a word. I've been in here. Well, my little sister and I had very similar voices. So we have concluded that it's got to be Mink going in and going, "Hey, Mel needs
Well,
help."
just one addition to the things I said. I have also gotten 2 text messages from my wife's phone. Well, a little thing about that. After my wife died, about a week later, my daughter's grandson, who likes to play with her telephone, dropped it in the toilet. And of course, ruined it. So I had my wife's phone still. So I said, well, I'll give it to my daughter Allison. So I took it over to the AT&T store. I had them empty everything off of it and put it on my phone so I could see the pictures. They put the pictures and everything on my phone, and then they blitzed the phone and then they turned it into my daughter's telephone number. They can switch phone numbers.
Right.
So there is no physical electronic device with my wife's phone number on it. Now, I have tried texting that number just to see maybe they gave it to somebody else or something, but it comes back as. Now I understand that by law they have to hold the number for like 3 years or something.
3 years. Yep.
Yeah.
Not only that, but they are not allowed. I mean, it's like a big thing. They cannot get the numbers that were on as like a top 5 or whatever they're called on cell phones. And I spoke with a representative from my cell company, and he told me very specifically, he says, that's a very common thing we hear, and no. They cannot, that's not somebody who got the number who's accidentally calling. And my little sister's cell phone numbers, and of course she sent several texts, and her cell phones are sitting in a bag in my closet. uh, they're dead.
Well,
They're deader than she is.
you can sell those and make money.
I know. I don't want to, you know.
I've got old Blackberries sitting around. I'm always wondering whether they're worth anything.
Probably. I look at them every once in a while and my heart breaks and I just put it back in. But
Now the text had nothing in them. It was
that's
just
common.
a blank text. But it's happened twice because it'll turn you when you look at the screen of an iPhone, it has like a little red dot next to it if there's activity. So I clicked on it and there's the phone number, but of
And you
course,
go and I know.
well, the first time it really freaked me out. The second time it was like, okay, man, what do you need?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, actually,
He
I
just
have to
wanted
call her.
you to go
She
ahead.
hated she hated when people called her Bev, so I have to catch myself. Beverly.
Yeah. I called her Bev all the time, which is probably a
Well, she
mistake.
never told you that she didn't like people shortening her name.
Yeah, her mother did tell me that actually.
No, her mother hated it when people called her Bev.
Well, people call me Mel all the time, and
I
Anyway,
don't.
I do have some cases of people who've gotten cell phone calls. It's very common to get phone calls from the dead, and it is not a case of. I mean, do you ever get if somebody changes their phone number? Do you ever get calls from living people?
No,
No, it
not
doesn't
people.
happen.
Not
So
people that change their number. No.
no. So what is it about these people that suddenly we're getting texts and everything else from them?
Okay,
Um,
hang on just a minute. I'm going to clean my lens because I look very fuzzy.
okay, while you're doing that, I will read one of these. It's from a guy named Craig. After my wife passed, I kept her cell phone in a drawer. About a year later, I heard it ringing. I answered it. It wasn't charged. No one was on the phone, but it was her number.
Now,
Okay.
is this somebody now that has sent a
Yes,
message?
this is
Okay.
someone not who messaged us, but somebody who had told me about it.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a current message. I was going to say,
No,
somebody's interacting with us.
no, get real. Okay, this one is after my big sister passed, my phone rang. I answered it. I clearly heard my sister call my name. It was a landline and it wasn't even plugged in. Yeah,
That
I had a
reminds me of that night gallery story about the little kid talking to his grandma on the
on
toy
the
phone.
phone, yeah. Yep. Okay, here's another one. I got a call from my granddad at about 2 a.m. The cell phone showed his name. I knew his phone was dead at the bottom of my closet. I guess that's where everybody keeps old cell phones. And I'll just do one more. Um, I had a message on my answering machine that was in the middle of 5 messages I received that day. It was from my sister in law, who had passed away the previous year. I tried to replay it, but it wouldn't play. So, this happens a lot. And there must be 100 other postings to it. And including one from a lady who got a phone call from her son within 10 minutes of his death.
Wow,
And
that was
yeah,
fast.
she, yeah, it rang and she looks at it and it's her son's name. And she's looking at his body. And she knows he's, you know, there's nobody with his phone. His phone is in right next to him on the hospital bed. So anyway, it's we live in a weird universe, y'all. That's just all there is to it. And it is not the black and white um, systematic universe that we were taught we existed in.
Well,
And
you know what I wonder, and I've heard a lot of other people saying this. They're pushing paranormal UFOs and things in the media much more than ever before. I mean, there was never this many ghost hunting shows, and that didn't exist back in the 60s and 70s and
oh, in the
80s.
60s and 70s? No, of
There
course
was
not.
nothing like this.
No.
So I wonder if this is being done to distract people from some of the unfortunate political things that are going on.
I suspect it may be some of that. I think also it's an attempt to undo some of the programming that was done in the past. And all we can do is trust our own experiences, our own insights, and research. And don't believe what you see or what others tell you. Look, look about what you know, and be an experiencer, in the words of Brandon Fugel, the who is the fellow who owns Skinwalker Ranch. When people ask him if he believes in something, he'll say, "Oh no, I know it. I've
Well,
seen." You know,
well, they used to talk to who was that guy? Jack, the guy that
Surfite.
researched. Oh, what do they call it? Abductions.
Oh, oh,
and that got hit by a hit and run car driver.
John
And,
Mack.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, John Mack. And but he was, he was like thrown out of
Yes.
the scientific community pretty much for his thoughts. But he never said he believed anything. He says, I never went into any of this believing it. He says, I wanted to know what it was.
It's fascinating when you look at things like when Carl Sagan said that the work of Dr. Ian Stevenson at the University of Virginia into cases of reincarnation with children, he had done over 5,000 cases. And Carl Sagan said that this was worth inquiry. That's all he said. And he got a death threat.
Well,
This
he after his death threat, he completely changed
he
his
did. He completely
attitude
changed.
because he was scared. I don't blame him. Hell, somebody said they were going to come kill me if I didn't shut up,
You'd shut up. Yeah.
depending
That's
on who it
why
was.
that's why little people like us have to talk and make noise because things are not as they seem to be. And I do now believe that there is an afterlife. I believe that the dead survive their passing.
What do you
And
think of that show, Afterlife? The one where the guy researches people and talks to people who have had.
oh
Uh,
yeah, that's excellent. Yeah, I thought you were talking about the other one. There are a few called Afterlife.
well, this one is very. It's not. It's a documentary thing, and where he goes out and he interviews all these people. And the one that I saw was a bunch of people who had uh, out of body experiences when they were in the hospital, and they had died,
In the East, yeah.
right? And they brought them back. And this one doctor researches that. And he talks to him about what was going on in the room when he was, and he
Documents all
asked,
of it.
right, and he asked some questions, and he says he's looked into it, and a lot of them, those things really were going on, and there's no way they could have known because they were dead.
Yeah,
They were literally brain dead at the time. Well, not brain dead
flat
because you
line,
can't have a brain,
everything.
but they were, they weren't breathing. They were having no brain activity. So
Exactly.
there's no way they knew that the nurse had cleaned up all the instruments, or whatever was going on in the room. But I,
Well,
so
there
it
is
was
now
very interesting.
there's now a scientist who is discussing the idea that the global mind is one system and it dissociates into individual personalities. And he has found that people who do dissociate in an immediate sense in their own psychology can still have a direct impact on their bodies. Like this one woman had an alter. We're talking about multiple personality disorder in this sense of dissociation.
Simple.
Yeah, Sybil. This wasn't Sybil. This was another person, but she had an alter personality who was blind, and even though she could see just as well as anybody. They did brainwave analysis on her and said she could not see. So if we can do that, he's speculating that there may be some kind of big net of neural net, which is why I found the new web pictures really interesting because it does look like a neural network. The clearly it's not. It's, the universe, but it,
Oh, you're talking about that new telescope? Some
yes,
of the
the web.
pictures that go
Yeah.
to the. Yeah, I've heard that supposition before, but I don't know how that would work. But, hey, who knows?
I mean, how does any of it work? I mean, go over to, it was wonderful. They had a person who went over to Skinwalker Ranch, and he had a relative who lived near there. And he knew that his relative was always seeing UFOs and weird creatures and all this stuff. And he frankly thought that his uncle was smoking the Mexican agriculture. And the,
You know, Mexico, marijuana is illegal,
yes, I know.
but
So,
here it's not. So it's our agriculture.
damn straight. Anyway, he was fairly certain that his relative was just crazy. Then he started watching Skinwalker Ranch and realized, oh crap, Uncle Steve lives near there. So suffice to say, these things have happened. So yeah, we live in a weird world, and there's all kinds of things. I mean, it there is a scene you have not seen because it's in. It hit the cutting room floor
It's a
of
scene that
Skinwalker.
I've not seen.
A scene you have not seen. That if you go on the Skinwalker Ranch insider site, if you're a lot braver than I am, they have a clip of it where this streak appears on the horizon. It's just this gray streak, and they're looking at it, and Travis says, "What the hell is that?" And the other guy goes, "I don't know. It's you know more about this than I do." He says, "Yeah, I know enough that it shouldn't be there." He says, "It's been there for over 10 minutes now. It's not scattering. It's not, it's not, the residue of some kind of fire or, what is it?" And he said it was like and you can see in the video, it's like this streak up and down across the sky. And so they get in the car and go over to look at it, and it vanished.
I think that's like trying to chase a rainbow.
Yeah, definitely. In fact, that's what they called it. But it was really absurd. Now he says you almost get the feeling it's like the Truman Show. that, that stuff happens on set and you don't know about it. But anyway, the we also were going to get to the pictures that we talked about last week.
I
Uh,
have I have some of them here.
excellent.
Let me bring one of them up. We'll talk about it.
Sounds great.
Let's see here. Let's see if I have better luck than I did last week.
You and me both.
Now, why are there no items? See, that's what gets me. I go there, it says no items match your search. Well, wait a second.
Somebody's hiding them. Let me see. If I can bring them up, I'll just show them.
Yeah, you see, JPEG is no longer supported.
It's ridiculous.
I don't know what Microsoft is doing. All right, let me
Yeah.
bring up invalid file type. It's a JPEG.
Yeah. You know, like one of the originals?
JPEG is not supported anymore.
Cheap. Okay. Here's one that will be kind of hard to see, but let's see. Can
I
you?
have that one too. That's move it to your left.
To my left.
A little more. A little more. There you go. You got the whole picture in there.
Okay.
And
Now,
you'll notice about in the middle of the picture, up and both vertically and horizontally, you can see the image of a person
yes.
standing there.
I, however, think this is pareidolia. I don't think this is an actual apparition. It, when you look at the other features around it and you look at it closely, I think it's just a combination of light and the flowers. And that when you look at it from a distance, it distills into an image of what we would think of as a person. If
Uh,
you look closely at it, I think it's just the brain's natural pattern perception that does that. However, there's such a thing as pattern misperception. There are lots of
God,
people who just can't see them.
I'm just. Hey, I'm gonna minimize this screen. So go ahead and keep talking. I'm just
Okay.
trying to figure out what is wrong with these pictures.
Okay.
It's a JPEG file. Why is it not coming up?
You got me. All right, here's one of a little uh, baby apparition, apparently, over a grave. It's a child's grave. And this is, with all of these, it's a matter of whether you can trust the individual who is supplying them. This has very uncertain linkages. However, it is an old photo, and it would be very difficult to um, mount that image on um, a photo at that time. Of course, we could do this in our sleep now, but
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You can, the way these photos are done, I'll tell you right now, not that particular one. I don't know about that one because that was pre Photoshop and pre computers. So,
right,
you could have still done it, but it would have taken physical things. You would have had to have done something with lenses, and it would have been, it would have taken some kind of photographic expert to fake that.
yep,
Uh, Nowadays, all you would have to do is take the image of the child, bring it up on Photoshop, change the opacity of the photo so that it's see through, and then paste it onto the picture of the grave. It would, as Melody said, I could do it in a half an hour.
yeah. But back then, people couldn't do that. Now, here's a photo that I consider to be at least not faked because it's so bad. If this were somebody faking it, they'd have done a lot better job. I think it's an unintentional um, unintentional non-paranormal or the real thing. The circle is around a face that appears. This is the relative of this group of people who were together celebrating her life. It was in Europe.
And she
Uh,
decided to make an appearance.
and she decided to make an appearance. Now, if you were going to fake it, you'd do a lot better job than this.
Well,
The,
because that's easily questionable.
oh, sure. It could be a double exposure. It could be all manner of things.
Doesn't look like a double exposure to me.
No, it has been,
Sure,
photographic experts have said it is not a double exposure.
it doesn't look like a double exposure. Because usually a double exposure, there's motion because the person who had their photo taken didn't know they were having their photo taken. Because the double exposure is normally caused by a camera malfunction.
Right.
the lens triggered when it wasn't supposed to. It didn't completely open, but it opened enough to put a little bit of an image on the film. And what happens is you don't advance the film because that's done by hand winding. The old cameras, you used to have this thumb thing, and when you were done taking a picture, you had to hand wind it. Some of the more recent ones had an electric winder where it automatically wound the film after you took a picture. And then
Yeah.
once you were out of film, it would go it would wind, and then you knew you were out of film because it had wound the film completely. And then you had to go into the bathroom and turn the light off and take your film out and put it in the little plastic cylindrical container with the gray lid, and then you would send that to Kodak, and they would photograph your film. So what would happen is so I had the camera sitting on the desk, and Melody was moving around and doing stuff, and the lens triggered, and she got a little bit of her picture while she was moving on the film. And then she took a picture at the park of something. So when you develop that picture, here's this picture of the park with this see-through Melody image, blurry on it. So what's the first thing you think? Oh my God, that's some kind of a freaky
It's a
monster.
ghost. When, you know.
But
Now here
yeah,
is an image that I. It's a from a well-known haunted building, which isn't there anymore. And as you can see, if I get it right here, um, it's one woman who is obviously an apparition of some kind, and I don't see how it could be anything else. I suppose you could dummy up something and hang it, and it would be impressive. But um, it's, I think, if we're going to trust the person who released this, and it's a fairly well-known ghost investigator, then I think this is more than likely um, some kind of actual image there. Now, whether it's paranormal or not is another matter. All right, I have an image Mark has not seen yet, but it came from someone I know, so I thought it was very interesting. It's at Dartmoor, and a um,
is that like
person who, what's that?
a pony? Is that like a pony or?
Yeah, it's a pony. It's a Shetland pony, I think. Um, and there was no one there other than the woman and the pony. But there's a little girl in the picture.
Oh, you mean the girl behind the pony wasn't there?
Yes, was not
Oh,
there.
okay. I thought you were saying that little girl and the pony was there, but
No.
okay.
And the photographer was there. The pony was there. The little girl was not there.
Well,
Now that
what's very odd about that picture and tends to make me think it's not fake is her arm being over the horse.
exactly.
If
Yeah.
you're going to edit it, it would be easy to put the little girl behind the pony,
Right.
but putting her arm over the top of the pony, you're talking about a whole lot of work.
Yep.
That would
And
have taken a lot of effort. Let me try this. I changed the file name in here to, I'm just trying to, there's still no pictures.
uh,
I don't understand that. For some reason, uh, Steam Yard is not recognizing any of my photographs as
any
legitimate photographs. I
that's
don't
a pain.
I don't understand. Because every folder, I go into every folder and it says that
Yeah.
They don't exist.
And here's a photo that is really kind of scary. It's this fellow appeared at a wedding, and he looks just like Keanu Reeves. And oh, sorry, I
To me,
hit
that
the
looks
wrong thing.
it looks like a coffee cup.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, don't tell your daughter about it. Anyway, and oh no, he was Keanu Reeves. I love this story. They walked up to him at the hotel lobby and introduced themselves and said they were getting married, and they invited him to the wedding. And
Did he
by
come?
God, he showed up.
Huh?
Yeah,
So it really was Keanu Reeves.
yeah, it really
Oh.
was Keanu Reeves. And he said, "Well, you invited me." Yeah, but
Have you seen that video? Yeah, I don't know if you've ever. Well, you don't go to Disneyland that much.
no.
At the Pirates, they have a Johnny Depp look-alike,
Yeah,
and he looks a lot like Johnny Depp. I mean,
yeah,
a lot. And one day, Johnny Depp goes to Disneyland quite a bit,
yeah. I know, and he has himself appeared in the ride before.
and
So,
he got dressed in costume just like the look-alike guy, and went
yeah,
up to him, and they were like going back and forth. I think they had set it up in advance because,
probably.
but the people were like, "Which one of you is really him?" And
Well,
Johnny Depp says, "Oh, he's Johnny Depp."
yeah, right. But anyway, let me see if I can find another one right quick here. This one will be hard to see, but I'll give it a shot. It's you're going to be looking behind the child to her left or my left.
I can barely see something behind her there.
Yeah, there's a face there.
It's hard to make out.
When this was taken, it was only the mother and the little girl in the house. I must also tell you, and everybody can look this up on YouTube. There's a video of a little girl talking to something that isn't there. She's in a high chair and she's saying, "Uncle, Uncle." And you can hear, if you listen with headphones, a male voice saying, "Say, Uncle." Well, the woman had lost her brother a few months beforehand, and the voice was a man saying, "Say, Uncle." And the little girl was going, "Uncle, Uncle." So, yet again, here's an example of a um, contact from the other side. And I will pull up another one here. A couple of these are very famous ones. Um,
By
this
the
is
way,
very, yes.
I am chatting with customer support.
Oh, good. Perhaps they will fix it. This is a very strange picture. It shows a pattern of diaphanous light that is often called ectoplasm in the olden days of ghost research. But it's two figures, they're clearly human, and they're in the room, and there wasn't anybody there. At least it looked like that. So, again, these are only as good as the source of the photograph. And some of them, this is a famous one. It's taken at Tombstone, Arizona.
Oh, that's our relative.
Yes, Ike Clinton.
Now he's not the original Ike Clanton.
No, I would hope not. If he is, then we're looking at the wrong ghost. The
Yes,
his
I think he was Ike Clanton. Wasn't he killed at the OK Corral,
Yeah,
or was he one of the ones that survived?
I think he's one of the ones who was killed. And of course, I'm sure my friends who are historians are out there going, no! But anyway,
If
this has,
we're wrong, tell us.
yeah, yeah, exactly. If we're wrong, let us know. Anyway, there is obviously a little gentleman in the background, and he's just poking up out of the ground.
Well,
So,
they discovered it when they tried to recreate the photo.
exactly.
And they saw
And,
that no matter what they did, the person who was sitting back there, you could see his legs.
yep.
So the
The
only way that photo could exist is one, it's really a ghost, or
Yep.
two, somebody cut his legs off,
And stuck him in the ground.
stuck him in the ground, or three, well, and or it's a cardboard cutout, or four, somebody edited the photo.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would say out of all of those, probably the ghost is probably the most
It's
likely.
probably, yeah. I mean, really, it comes down to good old Occam's razor. And of course, here's the famous backseat ghost.
That
But
is me being a Photoshop guy.
yeah,
That is the photo that bothers me the most.
yeah, I've been told that by others too. Um,
Hang on, I have to write something to Christian in customer support.
ah, I have to look at what time it is. Oh, we still have a few minutes. I had a fellow friend of me the other day. I friended him because I knew his name from a person who's also into the paranormal. His name is Stephen Arngrim. And I'm going, why do I know that name? You know? And I'm thinking, maybe I went to school with him. And then I looked him up and realized that he's the brother of Alison Arngrim, who played Nellie on Little House on the Prairie.
Ah,
So apparently he was an actor also. And now he's into the paranormal. So, yeah.
it's funny. We're running out of time here today. Sometimes we're like, oh God, what can we talk about
Yeah.
next?
No.
And, and
Oh,
today we're literally running out of space.
yeah.
We could do it. We could do a 2 hour show today.
I know. That's
That's
just
the
the
one
way it
bad.
is.
It's the one bad thing about streaming live on Facebook and YouTube is if you have a situation like this where you'd rather just keep going, you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, but it'll get you into hot water with
Yeah.
Facebook. And I'm in enough hot water with Facebook as it
I think
is.
we're all in hot water with Facebook. Anyway,
Okay.
well, we're coming up on the hour, so I hope you guys all have a great week. May it cool down everywhere. And I know a lot of people love summer. I am not one of those people.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, I just discovered the problem. Would you like to know what it is?
yes, I would.
The slideshow function on StreamYard only accepts PowerPoint files.
That's very odd.
JPEG, I'm going to tell him.
Anyway, well, Mark handles that. We'll wrap things up here. Thanks for being here again this week. We appreciate all of our viewers. We get more of them over on YouTube after we post it. So we know that there are people watching, and there are more every week. So hope you have a great week and enjoy September. Bye.
Bye.